Are you pro, anti, or indifferent to the success of Tesla in general? Because I've had people tell me that they have referred to you as a Tesla fanboy, and I think that's inaccurate.
I like underdogs, and all the cool cars coming out, including the Porsche Mission E, are happening because of Tesla. Before Tesla showed up, where was the industry on the future of tech? Like nowhere.
Yeah.
So OTA updates, wireless updates, like we want that. We hate car dealers.
I thought there was no way that was going to happen with the fucking brakes that they could fit. He was like, oh, we'll fix that over the air. I'm like, fuck.
Well,
no.
to be clear, the fact that they had to do that suggests there's a different problem.
Yeah.
Also, it's unclear exactly what they did. They did something with the ABS so under repeated heavy braking, which will probably have some long-term negative effects on the system itself. So wireless updates good. The fact they had to do it, not good.
Alex, can I ask you something about this though? That like the Tesla vehicle platform is much more software intense now than any other car. I mean, even the most software intense car out there doesn't have a platform that's so dependent on software to manage every one of its systems, right? So if you have an iterative software development process,
you said iterative,
yeah, where you're constantly making updates to it, and you have an ABS system, because the stopping distance, I'm starting to get over my head, but the stopping distance was not that far off of
a Ford F-150.
A Ford F-150, but it's not completely off of what a modern vehicle of the last 10 years would be, right? So it's what, 140?
What's your question?
The question is it really that big a deal that they had to update the software? And I have no horse or dog in the race of Tesla.
Well, let me say, first of all, I like the idea of Tesla. I think the cars are cool. The fact that they are like an exotic, they're badly made. Is not relevant, because people who don't buy them, they buy them they buy it despite that, because this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'd also say, so I'm a fanboy in the sense that I love the idea of it, and the entire industry is better because Tesla exists. Tesla goes out of business, it's bad, because it means the whole industry is going to go back, oscillate back to the center, and it's going to suck. I think that most Tesla fanboys are idiots, and they will believe anything. I'll make any excuse, and it disgusts me. But I would also say that the biggest sham about talking about Tesla is asking someone who is a journalist in automotive for an opinion, because most people who claim to be journalists are not experts on electric technology or software or production. And that's where the problems are for Tesla. From a design standpoint, like conceptually what they're doing is really cool. The fact that they have problems is a business and production problem, which is for someone else to debate. Anyone who denies it is a fool. And they have financial issues, which also are outside of the scope of most people to discuss intelligently. I don't pretend to be an expert on any of those problems. But what Tesla does well, I wish we could see from other companies. And I can't wait for the Mission E.
Yeah, I think they've got some interesting ideas that other people are picking up on, but I don't think they're particularly good at building cars right now.
I don't think anyone says they are.
Okay.
I mean, and anyone who suggests...
Do they have like a social responsibility to make people better aware of, or rename Autopilot or something? Because like it really seems like there's a lot of idiots that listen to a lot of other idiots about the things that Autopilot and various systems can and can't do.
That's a dangerous question to ask me, because I can give you an answer. It's 1 minute or 2 hours. So as soon as Autopilot came out, I went and took flying lessons, and because I wanted to understand what Autopilots do in planes. And you're into boats.
Yeah. I use Autopilot on boats all the time.
Autopilots exist for 100 years. Sperry designed. In fact, Sperry was killed
while on Autopilot.
Mr. Sperry, who created the company, was killed allegedly testing an Autopilot system. I think over the English Channel, maybe, I don't know.
Really?
And
was he better known for his shoe?
His
he
joke
didn't also
book.
invent the topsider.
His joke book was very. So yeah, look, an autopilot in a plane does not do 100% of the flying. It keeps it straight and level and does limited turns and allows pilots to do other things while it is on autopilot. But so yeah, I mean, they definitely aggressively and cynically and brilliantly call the system autopilot. In a way, it is exactly like an autopilot in a plane. The problem is that people who don't have pilot's licenses don't know what that means.
Yeah.
In a plane, there's a system called TCAS, which is Traffic Collision Avoidance System. So if you have a modern jet, commercial jet, which has an autopilot and a TCAS system, if it comes across other planes,
this
other
almost
traffic,
happened to us the other day.
Yeah, then a TCAS system, if it is directly connected to the autopilot, is capable of changing course to avoid a collision. There's various levels of TCAS, different types. So what people think an autopilot does in a Tesla is what TCAS does in some planes. So autopilots in boats and planes vary so widely that to suggest that the answer is yes, they cynically named it, and they probably should not name it that. The other problem with the prefix auto, people confuse automatic and automated with autonomous. And all those, automation and autonomy, not the same thing. So
autonomy involves reason and decision making, right?
Yeah, I mean, the purest definition of autonomy is independence and freedom of action, even in the absence of complete information. By that definition, no car is autonomous.
Yeah.
But all cars that have windshield wipers are automated.
Yeah.
Automation is any repetitive task that's taken over by machine.
Is this the 2-hour one or the 1 minute one?
Anyway, so the answer is they probably should not use the autopilot name. Yeah, but the biggest problem isn't the name. It's the fanboys who pretend it does more than it does because they want other people to believe and drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Bigger problem.
But I think if you're going to sell a system like that, it is on you to. I mean, okay, the fanboys. If you're not fucking on Twitter, maybe you don't read it. But like to really fucking tamp down on that kind of stuff.
Well, the crazy thing is, there's this kid, Yu, this Chinese kid.
Yeah, the guy who crashed his Model 3, right? So give us the backstory on this guy.
So this guy, real fanboy, but he not stupid, very smart guy. Oh well, when I tell you the story, you might disagree. So he went and got a Model 3. He bought it. He bought it like out of pocket.
Yeah.
He volunteered when like the week it came out to drive around America and give rides to people for free. And if people wanted to drive it, he charged them $10. They could drive it. This is his personal car. He claims he's not paid by Tesla, and I believe him. So on the course of his 2-month road trip around America, he had various defects, and he tweeted about them. Now all the fanboys called him a shill for big oil, and like
I hear about this. Everyone accused the new accusation is the stock manipulator, right?
Yeah. So then now here's what goes off the rails. So the guy decides he's going to take the car. He's going to ship it to Europe at his own expense and do a European Model 3 road trip because he believes in the Tesla vision. So he goes to Europe, he starts driving around, and then he heads east and Tesla claims, and he'll admit this, that the car was not homologated for Europe, and Autopilot, he shouldn't use Autopilot there, and that service centers...
They have zero mapping data.
Yeah, right. So anyway, but here's the thing. He did that. He booked the trip, and then before locking down his insurance, so he only had collision.
Liability.
Yeah. He didn't have collision, only liability, and so he's driving on Autopilot in like Greece or Macedonia, and Autopilot. He admits this. He had one hand on the wheel and one looking down, and Autopilot veered right and crashed a car.
Yeah.
So he's on the hook for that car. And Tesla gave him a little bit of a runaround, said they want him to pay thousands of dollars. So he's debating whether or not to eat the cost of getting it to a Tesla center so Tesla could pull the data. And he tweeted at Elon Musk saying, "Hey, Elon, you need to pull the data off the car and investigate this. The car malfunctioned." So now this guy who was a fanboy and still is, he's saying, as a fanboy, I'm saying this thing has defects. And on behalf of everybody who believes the vision, Musk should do the right thing and pull the data. And that's where it stands now.
Why? So why wouldn't he pull?
though.
What is the problem with pulling the data?
Well,
why does that need to be a fight?
Well,
to prove that the car steered into a median? Is that what he's trying to say?
It gets complicated because it should be possible for that. Well, when you get a Tesla in the U.S., it's tethered to their whatever cell plan. I don't know if it's AT&T or Verizon, and Tesla is constantly pulling data off the cars over the cellular network. They're pulling a fraction of the data the cars collect, and we don't know what the criteria are for what data they do collect. If there's a crash, they collect what data they can if the car is not destroyed. So this car, had the U.S. data plan hardware, was in Europe, so couldn't connect cellular.
Yeah.
So he offered to get it to the nearest service center, and there was a debate of who's going to pay. And he claims Tesla said they couldn't pull the data even if he got to Wi-Fi, which is weird. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So who knows the true story here? We really just don't.
So the bottom line is they told him not to use this system in Europe.
Yes.
He then used it, and it didn't work, and he had a crash.
That's correct.
That makes him a fucking idiot.
It seems
That's
weird,
not
though,
the how.
for him to say you guys should pull this data and do the right thing, he's displacing the blame off of himself to them, and I think they're kind of in the right position of like, you shouldn't have done this.
In no universe would I have.
I would argue that
driven a car in
he
Europe
shouldn't
without-
have done any of the things he did.
Yeah. I mean, it just
Beginning with the time he gave Elon Musk $1,000 for a Model 3. I would rewind it that far.
The most entertaining part, though, is all the Tesla fanboys saying that he is a traitor for point.
So fickle.
Because he actually has a lot of very accurate, observations about the car's behavior. I mean, and one thing, to Tesla's credit, despite the fact that the Model 3s are falling apart, in the first, I drove across country in January, and within an hour, it was clear to me that the interface for Autopilot on the 3 was fucking junk. It was stupid. It was badly designed and inferior to the S and X because the controls are on the center, the stalks don't work, and like within 3 weeks, Tesla had, and I wrote like 3,000 words about this.
I read it. It was not pretty.
Tesla implemented 100% of those recommendations.
There you go.
And what other car could do that? If only they could build cars like Toyota does.
Right.